Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Good morning and welcome back to the lecture series on partition of India and print media and cinema. Today our topic of discussion is partition literature in the 21st century. When we talk of 21st century, we may also need to look at the development of partition artworks that have been happening in the last decade of 20th century. So, in this discussion we are going to also incorporate, or we are also going to include the works from the 1990s. So, and then we look at how there are new scopes, new perspectives coming up at the turn of the century, right. So, we see that talking about the partition films or the question of India-Pakistan relationship against the backdrop of a story. So, talking about partition films in the 21st century and the Indo-Pak relationship that forms the skeleton of romantic narratives or romantic plots, we are reminded of Veer Zara. Veer Zara, a film that won several Filmfare Awards in 2005, and it was also a recipient of the National Film Award for Best Popular Film, providing wholesome entertainment. So, we understand that the question of Indo-Pak relationship has also pervaded and actually occupied the world of entertainment or the Bollywood formula. It has become a stock Bollywood formula. So, the film centers on the love story between Indian Hindu squadron leader Veer Pratap Singh, played by Shah Rukh Khan, who is a rescue pilot with the Indian Air Force, and for the female lead we have Zara Hayat Khan, played by Preeti Zinta, who comes to India to fulfill her surrogate Sikh grandmother's dying wish. So, the songs in the film actually celebrate national likeness and similarity rather than difference between India and Pakistan, and that becomes an ideological message in the film. The film actually appeals for peace, dialogue and mutual recognition. So, the film actually notes how personalized relationships are oppressed, how they are violated because of hyper nationalistic sentiments. It is actually, the film is promoting the idea of a shared humanity in the South Asian context. However, critics like Madhav Prasad observe that a film such as Veer Zara reproduces patriarchal and paternal authority by formulating deferral and suppression of conjugality and desire. So, a kind of idealized love, a kind of platonic love is depicted on screen through deferral of consummation, deferral of unity, man woman unity. So, in a way there are some conventional values also propagated by the film. Next we had in 2004 a film called Lakshya by Farhan Akhtar, which focuses on the Indo-Pakistan war in 1999. So, it actually traces the journey of an aimless youth towards becoming a hypermasculine national subject after he joins the Indian army. So, Lakshya reproduces the essentialized representations of India and Pakistan as arch rivals and enemies. So, the film calls for peace, but there are certain aspects that it criticizes, and it calls attention to these issues that the film thinks that the film thinks should be emergently engaged with. Issues such as the apathetic Indian middle class way of thinking and its preoccupation with globalized consumption, and then how the question of career development among the youth today does not include joining national services and the army, and it also questions the valorization of migration to the West for upward mobility and such similar aspirations. So, when we go back in the last decade of the 20th century, we have a very important film by Mani Ratnam called Bombay. It was made in 1995, and it in fact imagines, it gives allowance to inter-ethnic or intercommunal coupledom. So, however, it has been questioned mainly by the Pakistani critics, how this coupledom, this Hindu-Muslim marriage is possible in Bollywood films only when the male comes from the Hindu community, whereas the female is a Muslim. And this is also true for Bombay, where we see the female is not only a Muslim, but also from a socio-economically speaking lower strata of the society. She is a village girl and a subordinate in a way to the hero's family. So, the hero's family, the man is from a Tamil Brahmin family and a much well-to-do and has a much well-to-do background. So, the man is not only gender-wise let us say in a position of in a dominant position, but also coming from an upper strata of the society. So, caste, class, gender wise the Hindus' position is more consolidated and more strengthened. This is something that several Pakistani critics actually see as questionable in the imagination of Hindu-Muslim marriage on screen that are celebrated as bold experiments in Bollywood. So, the film is set against the backdrop of the communal riot which created massive attacks in the city of Bombay due to the destruction of the Babri Masjid mosque in Ayodhya on 6th of December 1992. And then we see that the love story at the heart of the love story is at the heart of this entire plot, love story between Shekhar and Shaila Banu. And this happens, the couple elope from their respective homes because they do not have their parents' approval in their marriage, and so they get married secretly, and subsequently they become parents, and the couple is shown to be living a happy married life with apparently no religious conflict disrupting their household. So, the film actually promotes a generic pan-Indian identity through the elimination of conflict, and it emphasizes communal fraternizing. So, we see that as a couple, as a couple that has married intercommunally. This home, the home that they make after their the home that they make and where they have their own children is also a third space. It's a liminal space, and this liminality is suggested through the names of the children. From the names of the two sons, the twins that the couple have, one cannot really decipher whether they are whether they belong to a Hindu family or a Muslim family. And we see that this family is jeopardized at the time of riots. So, symbolically it is the liminal space, the third space, which has nothing to do apparently with Puritan communal ideas, with rabid or extremist notions that also get affected. We see at the same time that the fathers of these two the fathers of the protagonists, Shekhar and Shaila Banu, die during in a case of incendiary, and they are burnt alive. So, we see that when a riot, violence, communal violence starts engulfing people, it does not really care whether the person in the receiving end endorses such activities, endorses antagonism, or is far away from such discourse. So, both the fathers apparently had their own stoic positions as a Hindu and a Muslim. They died in an incendiary, and the entire family, the couple and their sons actually are separated by the riot. So, or they are actually the family is asunder. They are asunder, and they are separated by the riots. So, next we are going to talk about the picturization and imagination of Kashmir in Bollywood films. We are talking about 21st century. However, having a little bit somewhat having a backdrop, taking a look at the history would taking a look at the history would enable us to understand how Kashmir has been perceived through the Bollywood lens since the 1960s and 1970s. So, from 1960s to 1989, Bollywood lenses have contributed to a large number of films set against the backdrop of Kashmir. We had films such as Kashmir Ki Kali 1964, Jab Jab Phool Khile 1965, Noori in 1979, Arzu in 1965, and so forth. A lot of these films actually showed Kashmir as the paradise, as in terms of its ethereal beauty, something that is outside of an individual's normal perception of majestic and grandeur, and something that contains thereby all superlative notions of superlative notions of beauty, of magnificence, and so we have a remarkable depiction of Kashmir in all these films. In Bollywood cinema, it has been an important element to depict India. It has been almost a mantra to depict India as superior to other nations. In terms of Pakistan, India is shown as militarily superior, and when compared with the West, India is shown as culturally superior. Bollywood has a way of focusing on the Kashmir conflicts in a specific way, where on the one hand the beauty of beauty, pristinity, and the beauty and magnificence and pristinity of Kashmir is celebrated, and on the other hand, the bravery of the Indian soldiers that are safeguarding, that are sacrificing their lives to prevent spoiling of this beauty are also these Indian soldiers are also kind of valorized in Hindi cinema, in Bollywood. So, on the one hand we have the beauty and splendor of Kashmir celebrated, and on the other we have the role of the Indian army, the bravery of the soldiers that are recorded and that are commemorated through films centered on Kashmir, right. These soldiers play a quintessential role in safeguarding the pristinity, the unspoiled beauty of Kashmir. So, some of the stock representations when talking about Kashmir are I mean the innocent Kashmiri, and then the tourist destination, Kashmir as a tourist destination where a newly married couple are shown as visiting Kashmir as their honeymoon spot, and then Kashmir is also a part of the good Muslim, bad Muslim, or the good Kashmiri, bad Kashmiri discourse. And finally, the Islamic terror frame is constantly brought in vis-a-vis the context of in the context of Kashmir. The Islamic terror frame comes back again and again. In 1992, a film called Roja was directed by Mani Ratnam, which narrates this love story between an Indian army servant and his wife. So, the couple after their marriage go to Kashmir, and that is where the man gets kidnapped by the terrorists. So, Roja hovers between the genres of romance and a political thriller which deals with the question of terrorism in Kashmir. And Roja is in a way inspires the common man referring to the upper caste, middle class male, to protect the national interest by fighting terrorism. So, although the army person and the male protagonist has his romantic life and his family dimension, he is solely and single, he is solely and wholeheartedly dedicated to the cause of the nation. And that is how he gets kidnapped, and his wife also gets embroiled in this crossfire, right. So, the filmic cliches in Roja serve to force a resolution of the crisis posed by Kashmiri nationalism, Kashmiri separatism and fundamentalism, which threaten the nation's existence. So, the film presents activities. The film presents army activities such as search operations, interrogation of terrorists, and the shooting of the terrorists by the army men. Roja refers to the emergence of a communal consensus in which a whole series of assumptions and myths have been given the form, or given the shape of common sense. A whole series of assumptions and myths have been turned as commonsensical. It constructs a powerful and extendable enemy image through the appropriation of old prejudices and combining of such prejudices with new biases that are constantly propagated by the media. So, critics like Rustam Bharucha argue that Roja reinforces the official version and the official scenario on Kashmir, and in a way brings a very glib a very quick take on the question of reconciliation. It is also a very superficial way of dealing with the question of reconciliation. The film emphasizes territorial integrity of the state of Kashmir within the larger framework of India as the most important issue in hand. So, Bharucha says that rather than pushing for such glib and quick resolutions to the problem of Kashmir, which has been a long standing problem, the Kashmir problem, it needs it seeks new strategies, novel strategies of intervention. It entails a greater awareness of Kashmir, a more detailed knowledge of and engagement with the question of Kashmir. It demands further delving into the limits and possibilities of regional autonomy in Kashmir in the context of the past negotiations of the state with the central government, and also the need in general to respect the Kashmiri identity as something that is complex and not necessarily and simply equivalent with Muslim or Islamic fundamentalism. Not all Kashmiris are naturally fundamentalists or terrorists, and also something that Balraj Puri states, the capacity or the resilience of a democratic state to incorporate the peaceful expression of secessionist ideas, right? Something that does not conform with the governmental diktats, but which is not automatically which does not automatically, which thereby cannot be thought of as automatically terrorizing the nation because of its different way, alternative way of thinking and being. So, Balraj Puri, what Balraj Puri is trying to say is that not accommodate, not reconciling with the governmental diktats does not automatically suggest having terrorist intentions. So, I mean to have a more open and multiple views and multiple possibilities of dealing with the Kashmir question is something suggested by these critics. Now, Nicholas B. Dirks reads Roja as a representation of Kashmir. Nicholas B. Dirks notes that Kashmir in Roja is represented as a potential site of terrorism inhabited by dangerous and ruthless pre-modern Muslims who are constantly seeking attention from the heroic Indian army, and they are greatly in need to get humanized, and this is a very generalized way of treating the Kashmiri on screen, right. So, Tamim Ahmad Baba, for example, points out how such films actually failed to incorporate the other's point of view. For example, how the militants, the so called violent militants, do not have much say in the governmental policies, which shapes them as the ideologues and as the extremists that they are, and how these stock metaphors and stock let us say these motifs and stock characters in films, in Bollywood films, fail to tell the stories of many such Kashmiri families that have been afflicted because of the war, the ongoing war, that lost their young children in pointless raids initiated by the Indian Armed Forces. Now, we had films such as Fana, Ma Tujhe Salam, and other others that dealt with the topic of terrorism, and that in an unproblematic manner associated terrorism with Islam. In these films, there is a common trope to pit the terrorist against the patriotic Muslim character. Now, militancy in Kashmir has always entertained the Indian audience at large. So, it has been an appealing factor, and it actually adds to the popularity of a film. So, Mission Kashmir in a similar way shows the vulnerability of the Muslim youth, who is constantly being brainwashed by the evil Muslim, and it thereby implies that the youth do not possess a sense of their own, any ideology or any sense of reasoning of their own, and they are often manipulated by some hardened criminals. So, these films have many a times alluded to the exodus of the Kashmiri Pandits, the plight of the Kashmiri Pandits, but not many films have touched on the topic of the hardship of the refugee Muslims also, the ones that are residents of Pakistan administered Kashmir. Talking about Kashmir, on March 2000, Kashmir was attacked by Islamic militants. This incident had led to the death of 35 lakh Sikh men in Chitti Singhpora. The newspapers evoked the incident with the headline as ghosts of partition return to haunt Sikhs. And many of the Sikhs in the villages in Jammu and Kashmir were migrants from Pakistan who were displaced during the partition due to the large scale ethnic violence between the Muslims and the Hindus and Sikhs. So, we see Kashmir as a volatile spot which has always caught the attention of Bollywood and other popular it is not only films but also other popular genres. It is depicted through animation. Kashmir has been experimented through different genres. It has been seen through a number of lens. But what is observable in most of the cases is that we do not or maybe we do not want to see Kashmir as a normal case, as a mundane case. Kashmir as a mundane life hardly appears in any of the artworks. Kashmir is always synonymous with some exceptional and burning issue. Either it is more beautiful than the rest of the India, unimaginably more beautiful, and completely a disjuncture, a point of a space of disjuncture vis-a-vis its natural beauty and its culture, or it is or its devilish aspects are depicted and its devilish aspects are highlighted. So, for example, I mean, there are never films on how a regular Kashmiri youth is part of the larger Indian fabric. They could be a doctor, an engineer, or we do not for example see in Bollywood cases of Kashmiris in the mainstream narrative. We do not see a Kashmiri character in the mainstream narrative in a plot that involves people from other parts of India. A Kashmiri that has or let us say a Kashmiri Muslim that has done well in the field of medicine, research, engineering, teaching, and so forth. We do not talk about the carpet industry or the booming, industries in Kashmir. We do not talk about the mundane life, the ordinariness. So, Kashmir is always recognized, if at all, in terms of its extraordinary presence. And this is also something that the others' way of perceiving Kashmir also seeps into their own self-perception. That is how Kashmir chooses never to be integrated within India, because the thinking remains that they are different. They are either better or worse than the rest of the Indians, than the rest of the Pakistanis. In the South Asian context, Kashmir is actually an exceptional case. The exceptional has never been intercepted, intervened, and questioned. And that it would be very interesting to see how Kashmir also has an ordinary, regular, life in an office, in schools, in colleges, besides the issues of army and militants. So it would be interesting to see the ordinary life, to depict and to examine the ordinary life of the Kashmiris, apart from the question of or besides the question of exceptionality and conflicts. Now, emerging scholarship and new scopes also talk about talking about the emerging scholarship and new scopes. We have Dalit literature coming back, where the Dalits version of partition act as counter discourse to the mainstream partition narratives. It becomes a new literature that testifies to, or that documents the post-partition scenario. Illiteracy was one of the main reasons for the delay in the emergence of the Dalit literature. So, some of the notable works include, Manohar Mouli Biswas's Surviving in My World, an autobiography of a Dalit, Memories of Arrival, Voice from the Margins by Adir Biswas and V. Ramaswamy, and then Manoranjan Bepari's Interrogating My Chandal Life. So, the talk about the Dalits and Dalit literary movements in Bengal, and authors such as Adir Biswas compare the Dalit aesthetics with that of Afro-American literature. The authors describe about their lives of discrimination, the difficulties that they faced while getting educated, and how they had, as children, they had to share the labor of their parents while also studying in schools. So, their hardships, the inequalities that they faced as Dalits in terms of food, rituals and religious practices are described extensively through their writings. They talk about the undifferentiated world of the Bengali Bhadralok middle class, which against such a setting, they historicize the lonely world of the Dalit, right. Gender, the question of gender for the Dalit male refugees is, often complicated by the class and caste subjugations that they faced. So, as juveniles, some of them are forced to act as mediums of erotic pleasure in exchange for basic, basic requirements such as food and shelter, and so they are sexually exploited by men from the higher authority, mainly police government or police representatives, and it suggests that their victimization therefore cannot be categorized under any single expression of violence. They cannot be etched as the powerful male figure who is the architect of nationalistic discourses, and who are architects of the partition, they are far away from such schemations, right, such schemes. Caste subordination is a further impairment to the already abandoned status and the tabooed status as refugee, to one's already abandoned and tabooed status as a stigmatized status as a refugee. So, the rape of and sexual exploitation of Dalit males by powerful men expose their insecurity once in terms of once within the charter of law. So, the law does not exactly protect them, because the protectors of law, the makers of law, such as the policemen, come and rape the young boys, and it also portrays their rejection from the Hindu communal paradigm. So their their marginalization is twice or thrice explained, once as the juvenile, and then as the refugee, as the lower class, and then also as the lower caste or Dalit. So, we see that most of at least a significant population of the Dalit refugees, the Namasudra refugees, are followers of Matua religion, which is introduced by Harichand Thakur, and Harichand Thakur's son Guruchand Thakur institutionalized this Matua religion. It acted as a counter discourse to Hinduism and caste system. So, in interrogating my Chandal life, similarly Manoranjan Bapari talks about his wretched wretched and caste ridden existence, and he describes the socio-political conditions at that time, the tumultuous political situations in which he grew up. He talks about his camp life, his the dismal conditions in the refugee camps where he grew up. So, being a Dalit and a poor had great roles in deciding the tragic fate, and in they inform his marginalized status at all stages of life, at every phase of life. So, we see that it is only after coming in touch with Mahashweta Devi, he starts writing books. So, he becomes he plays multiple roles as a rickshawala, a Naxalite, a criminal, a cook. His life is extremely checkered, and through these vicissitudes he tries to identify his self, his existence in his autobiography. It is a very complex, layered existence, very questions everyone, but he also does not fringe from questioning or problematizing his own complex self, right. So, next we also have a very interesting, a remarkable work called Doyamoir Kotha by Sunanda Sikdar. It is a very different style of narration, which is a departure from the canonical works that we have on Bengal partition. So, we see that there is constantly a disjuncture, a fracture between the narrator and juvenile protagonist narrator Doya and the current adult writer Sunanda Sikdar's persona, and there has been no attempt, interestingly, to reconcile these two facets of the same person. So, Doya is the rural child, the bewildered child who could never inwardly come in terms with the Calcuttan culture, the artificiality, or let us say the refined woman's characters that were artificially inserted or forced on her could never be internalized by Doya. The ordinariness of this memoir destabilizes the constructs such as what it means to be an East Bengali, a female immigrant, and what it means to look back at the past after many years. So, in post-partition literature, the Bhadralok writings had always taken up the center, the center stage through the portrayal, through their self-portrayal as the veritable patriots and the veritable victims. Now, moving away from that position, Daya's narrative acts as a safety valve against, congealing any kind of ethnography of partition narrative, and it does not try to be spectacular and claim a certain authenticity over the events. It does not want or aim at becoming a representative narrative of trauma and tribulation. It rather delves on everydayness, on one's everyday, and it actually is able to overcome any sort of sentimentalizing. It actually steers clear of any kind of sentimentalizing. So, we see that Dayamoyir Katha is a way of moving away from the mainstream Bhadralok narratives, which have an archival quality. We have already discussed the role of canon and archives in our earlier lectures. So, her memory not only celebrates the village's prestigious background, but for example, it also does not refrain from talking about the others, the transgendered person, the foppish male, the mother, the single mother, or it does not fringe from telling the narratives of or telling the stories of extramarital affair in the village. So, it is not, it does not fit very well with the nationalistic renditions of Bengal partition literature. So, it does not fit very well with the accounts, with the nationalistic accounts on Bengal partition. It is rather, I mean, the moving away from the unforgiving beliefs and cruel activities, Dayamoyir Katha actually dwells on and celebrates the human crux of the narrative, with the village as the unit, the village where Daya is growing up. All right, with this we are going to stop today's lecture. We will meet again for another round of discussions. Thank you.